You've been taught that power comes from speaking up, taking action, being loud. But the most dangerous people in the world move in silence. They don't argue, they don't react, they don't fight. They disappear and leave you wondering what they're planning. Psychological warfare isn't loud, it's invisible. It's in the tension you can't explain. The look that says nothing but means everything. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. The strongest man in the room isn't the one who talks. It's the one everyone's watching. In this video, I'll give you 7 dark laws of psychological warfare used to dominate without force, manipulate without lying, and win without ever being seen. These aren't tactics for everyone. They're survival skills for the few. Let's begin. Power isn't just about presence. It's about when and why you disappear. The law of strategic absence is simple. When you're always available, you're taken for granted. But when you vanish, even briefly, your value multiplies. Machiavelli understood this better than most. He wrote that men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. What does that mean in today's world? It means people remember absence more than presence. They notice what's missing more than what's always there. Look at how power moves in real life. The CEO who rarely shows up to meetings, but when they do, everyone goes silent. The influencer who vanishes for a week and returns to double the attention. The ex who cuts off contact and suddenly lives rent-free in someone's mind. That's not accidental. It's design. Disappearance is a form of control. When you pull away, people project. They imagine. They obsess. They fill in the silence with their own fears, guilt, or desire. That's how you plant yourself in their psyche, without saying a word. But this law only works if used with precision. Too much absence, and you're forgotten. Too little, and you're ignored. The power lies in timing. Vanish right after giving value, showing strength, or stirring emotion. Leave them wanting. Leave them guessing. In psychological warfare, presence can be predictable. Absence, that's art. This isn't ghosting. This is calculation. You're not retreating. You're creating space for your influence to echo. So if you want to be respected, missed, and even feared, don't always show up. Disappear strategically. And let silence do the talking. Power isn't just about answers. It's about the questions you leave behind. The law of denied closure states that the more someone needs your explanation, your apology, your approval, the more control you have. Machiavelli warned that men are more easily deceived by what they want to believe than what is true. And nothing fuels belief more than uncertainty. In today's world, closure is treated like a moral right. The "you owe me an explanation" mindset. But that's not power, that's pressure. And pressure is a tool. When you deny closure, subtly, intentionally, you create psychological noise that the other person can't shut off. They replay the moment. They invent theories. They start talking to themselves about you. That's not manipulation. That's gravity. And you become the center of it. Think about the last time someone ghosted you, withheld an explanation, or left a conversation just a little too soon. You replayed it in your head, didn't you? That silence was louder than 1,000 words. That gap, that itch you couldn't scratch, that is where real power lives. This law is used by powerful people all the time. CEOs who don't give feedback, politicians who dodge direct answers, partners who disappear mid-drama. Not because they're afraid, but because they understand the effect. People can recover from pain. They cannot recover from ambiguity. But be careful. Denial must be surgical. Too much, and you appear cowardly. Too little, and you lose the tension. Use it when you've just delivered something powerful. A challenge, a question, a rejection. Then walk away. You're not avoiding conflict. You're extending control. Because when they need closure, you own the final word, even if you never speak it. Power isn't just about cruelty. It's about when and how you show mercy. The law of controlled kindness teaches us that kindness loses its power when it becomes predictable. But when it's rare and intentional, it becomes unforgettable. Machiavelli wrote that generosity is best used in moments of high visibility and withheld when it becomes expected. In other words, kindness should never become your reputation. It should become your strategy. Why? Because constant kindness gets filtered out. People stop noticing it. They start assuming it. And worst of all, they start exploiting it. But when you give it selectively, it becomes a weapon of emotional control. The compliment that comes once every 6 months. The moment of unexpected softness during a conflict. The rare gesture of support from someone normally distant. That kind of kindness creates dependency, not trust. They start chasing it. They start needing your approval. They start adjusting their behavior just to feel your warmth again. This is how rulers bend loyalty. How managers extract extra work. How partners pull people closer without saying a word. But make no mistake, this isn't about being fake. It's about being intentional. You're not pretending to be kind. You're choosing when to be, and making sure it lands with maximum impact. Controlled kindness is contrast. It's the warm fire in a cold room, the sudden calm after a storm, the pause that makes the pressure more intense. If you're always nice, people forget your power. If you're never kind, they resist your influence. But if you master the balance, you become unforgettable. Because in the end, the most powerful figure in any room isn't the one who punishes the most. It's the one whose kindness feels like a rare gift, not a daily routine. Power isn't just about what you say. It's about what they keep thinking after you've said it. The law of thought infection is simple. Plant the right idea in someone's mind, and they'll do the work of spreading it for you. Machiavelli understood that brute force creates resistance. But suggestion spreads like smoke, quiet, invisible, and almost impossible to trace back to its source. In modern terms, this is how memes go viral. Rumors shape reputations, and leaders move crowds without lifting a finger. Here's how it works. You don't tell people what to believe. You plant doubt in what they already believe. You don't say, "He's lying." You say, "Interesting how he changes his tone when he talks about money." That one seed, vague, subtle, disarming, starts to grow. They begin noticing patterns. They connect dots you never had to draw. And once a thought infects the mind, it's very hard to remove. This tactic is used in high-level business, politics, even relationships. A boss who casually questions an employee's loyalty in front of the team. A partner who says, "You've been really quiet lately. Are you sure everything's okay?" It's never aggressive, never loud, but it sticks. And once it sticks, you've created what psychologists call a cognitive itch, something that must be scratched, solved, or justified. People will replay your words, reinterpret your tone, and even talk to others, unknowingly spreading the same idea. That's how power travels. Not in commands, but in contagion. To master this law, stop trying to prove everything. Say less, imply more. Drop thoughts like time bombs, and let silence set them off. Because the most dangerous idea is the one someone believes they arrived at on their own. Power isn't always direct. Sometimes it hides in the connections you quietly control. The law of spiders' threads is simple. The most powerful person in the room isn't always speaking. It's the one whose influence stretches in every direction, without anyone realizing it. Machiavelli wrote that princes should keep their hands clean and their influence dirty. In other words, don't act, orchestrate. Imagine a spider in the center of its web. It doesn't chase flies, it just waits. The threads are already set, silent, invisible, sensitive. When something moves, it knows. When something struggles, it responds. That's how you must build your influence, quietly, with reach. In modern power games, this means creating networks that respond to your touch, not just friends, loyalties, not just followers, messengers, not just allies, assets. The key isn't control, it's leverage. You position yourself at the center, but never in the spotlight. People move on your behalf, speak in your favor, protect your name, while you remain untouched. Ask yourself this: who speaks for you when you're not in the room? Who defends your name before you even hear the threat? If the answer is no one, then you're not building a web. You're walking alone, and no one wins the power game alone. This law is how power survives attacks. When someone tries to isolate you, they find themselves isolated. When someone tries to smear you, the voices defending you are louder than the ones accusing. But like all webs, this requires patience. You must invest in your threads, not by giving them everything, but by making them feel seen, needed, valued. You don't force loyalty. You weave it, because when the storm comes, you don't need to fight. You just feel the vibration and let the web pull the strings for you. Power isn't just about who you're with. It's about making others uncertain whose side you're really on. The law of ambiguous allegiance teaches us that when people can't pin down your loyalty, they fear losing you and fight harder to keep you close. Machiavelli warned that when you declare allegiance too quickly, you give away leverage. But when your position remains unclear, when others aren't sure if you're friend or rival, you become a threat and an asset at the same time. This law isn't about betrayal. It's about strategic mystery. You're not a liar. You're a mirror. When someone looks at you, they see what they want to see, and you let them, without ever confirming it. In politics, this is how influential advisors rise, by staying quiet, speaking in careful riddles, showing signs of loyalty without pledging their soul. In business, it's how rising stars navigate tense offices, one foot in every circle, loyal to none, yet welcomed by all. People will try to force you to choose. That's when you say, "I understand both sides." That's when you remind them, "I serve the greater goal." That's when you move silently, never burning bridges, just dimming the lights. This creates tension, and tension breeds influence. People become afraid to lose you. They begin to compete for your loyalty, and the more they chase your allegiance, the more power you hold. But this law has limits. Stay too vague for too long, and you'll lose trust. The key is to offer just enough certainty to seem stable, while never revealing your true intentions. Let them believe you've chosen them, while you keep your hand on the door. Because in the game of power, being wanted by all is stronger than being owned by one. Power doesn't require you to be invisible. It requires you to be misunderstood on purpose. The law of false mirrors is simple. When people think they see the real you, but they're looking at a carefully crafted illusion, you gain control over how they act, react, and expose themselves. Machiavelli knew that to lead effectively, perception is everything. He warned, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." That's the core of this law. Don't show your face. Show them a mask they'll underestimate, admire, or obey. Why? Because people don't respond to truth. They respond to what they think is true. If you appear weak, they lower their guard. If you appear kind, they confess more. If you appear naive, they show their hands, assuming you'll never use that knowledge against them. The false mirror is a strategic image, tailored for the audience, never for ego. It's how spies move through governments. It's how CEOs handle ruthless negotiations, by acting unsure before striking hard. It's how modern Machiavellians protect themselves, by never letting the world know who they really are. You must become a controlled distortion of yourself. Never completely honest, never completely fake, just real enough to be trusted, and false enough to be untouchable. And here's the twist. While they're busy reacting to the mirror you gave them, you're observing, learning, adjusting, gaining the upper hand, without ever drawing your sword. This law isn't about deceit for cruelty. It's about survival through misdirection. Because once people think they've figured you out, they stop looking deeper, and that's where your real power begins. Remember, those who are truly dangerous are never seen clearly. They're reflected, never revealed. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. Most want comfort. You want clarity. Most want praise. You want power. And now you hold 7 psychological laws that most will never even notice, let alone master. But this is just the beginning. The world is run by those who understand what others ignore. That silence can be louder than screams. That control can look like kindness. And that true power isn't taken with force. It's taken with precision. If this spoke to you, if it lit something in you, then you're exactly who this channel was made for. So subscribe now, because every week I break down the hidden strategies of rulers, tacticians, and modern Machiavellians, not to corrupt you, but to arm you. The game is being played. It's time you learned how to win.